Hey, Rob, I got something over here that I think I need to put on for this episode, and that is the Kentucky Wildcats because they deserve it, man. They were not good last night against Miami. They were unbelievable on both ends. They're way better than I thought they'd be this early in the season. Like I thought, all right, they looked good against Kansas, but I was still like, all right, let's kind of settle down here. That could have been a one-off, but it's not a one-off. Like these dudes, they're fun to watch too, Rob. They're fun to watch. They play hard as shit. They make threes, and they got a kid in Reed Sheppard that nobody thought was as good as he's been so far.
I have to say, expert level trolling from you. I saw your tweet last night that I assume was to enrage the Kentucky fans, which I think you
Which
accomplished.
one?
And now, which one? I think the one about your Final Four picks.
Oh, that I've now given up on the St. Mary's Gales and replaced them.
You know, we need to have a talk here. You're hurting the brand of our podcast with some of your predictions that you make that are just terrible. You know, just your Big Ten picks where you just were talking about how you thought Michigan State and Purdue were on the same level early, and I don't see that.
No, I don't.
Not saying they couldn't finish there, but and now this, I worry about what you're doing to our pod here. No,
we've got Kentucky, you. Hey, we've got you for credibility for the pod. We've got you.
Yeah, you spew bullshit, and I just try to bring it back. I think offensively, watching this team play is a million times more enjoyable than last season. Like last year, it felt like it was so hard at times for Kentucky to score, generate looks from the perimeter, just have good offense. And now you see this team, and you mentioned the shooting. Obviously, that's going to help and open the driving lanes for some of the athletes they have, and they have athletes. The fact that they're playing so fast and not turning the basketball over, I mean, they don't turn it over at all. Right. And they're playing with serious tempo. You've got real athletes. You're shooting 40+% from three. I think their team, the chemistry aspect, when you look at this year's team versus last year's team, it just never looked like the pieces fit together. And I know that Kentucky is not whole. I know that Aaron Bradshaw has not played a game yet. And I think that's where you wonder with Kentucky right now, when they run into somebody with really good bigs. I guess Purdue would be an example. You need Aaron Bradshaw, and you need some of these guys that are hurt just to try to slow down, Zach Edey or somebody like that. I think Trey Mitchell has done an admirable job playing the five, and he's fit in great with his team. The way he passes, the way that he can make shots from the perimeter, there's a lot to like. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at Kentucky, Rob Dillingham shooting 50+% from three. Antonio Reeves is 44. Reed Sheppard's like 100 or 63 or whatever he is. Like he's making everything. What an
his numbers, Rob. Rob, can I give you his numbers for the year?
Yeah.
Like it's insane. 7 games, he's averaging 14.3 points, which is fine. But he's only taken a total of 46 shots in 7 games.
Yeah. His offensive rating has got to be like unbelievable. Like unbelievable. I can't even imagine what it is.
He's 19 of 30 from three. Like if you were shooting that percentage, Rob, how many shots would you be hoisting up there right now? Like, right?
Well, I mean, I assume if you're shooting like that and you're a good shooter, you've got the ultimate green light. Like
he doesn't even take it. He doesn't take it.
He's taken all good shots. All those shots last night are guys going under or open threes that they've generated. Which is crazy because last year, how many times did we talk about with Kentucky? They just could not generate open threes.
Right.
But when you've got guys that can make them and you still have those athletes that get in the paint, now I just felt like Miami was in rotation the entire second half. They were just always rotating.
Yep.
And that's a credit to Kentucky and the way those guys played and John Calipari.
And like again, we've talked about DJ Wagner. I always thought he was overrated per his ranking. Right. I never said he wasn't a really good player. I just felt like he and Dillingham, how are they going to fit together? Because they're both kind of ball dominant guards that aren't the most efficient guys in the world. Well, Dillingham's been very efficient so far. Like,
and he's really passed. I mean, his assist rate is like top 15 nationally.
I wonder if bringing him off the bench, like overseas in that Canada trip and then early in the season. I wonder if that kind of got him to where he understood that, like, I can't be the Rob Dillingham of old, just going out there and trying to go for 40. And I also think you look at Reed Sheppard, all these young guys, they watch him and the way he moves the ball, and they understand, like, all right, you know what? Like, he's playing the right way. He's moving it. We're getting it back. Trey Mitchell's moving it. I don't know, but man, they are just fun to watch and mature. Like, that's the word I would use for this young group. Now, again, they got two older dudes in Reeves and Mitchell, but the younger group, Reed Sheppard, you knew had a mature game. Dillingham is playing with a maturity right now that I never saw on the AAU circuit. And that's a testament to Calipari, what he's been able to do with him, and Dillingham.
Yeah, and that's a very freeing feeling. I mean, when you know the ball's coming back to you, that just, it frees up everything in your offense where guys are going to give it up knowing that if they're open, they'll get it back. And I didn't feel like that was maybe the case for Kentucky last year. I think if you're talking about
Rob, how much of it too? And this is a bigger overall point that I'm going to get into, and you're probably going to push back a little bit, but when you have a big who can't really stretch it, and then defensively is a liability, which Oscar Tshiebwe was. He was a liability defensively. We know that. Like, that changes things too on both ends. He wasn't a rim protector. He was an elite rebounder.
Yeah, who wants the National Player of the Year on their team? Who wants that guy?
But again,
I hear what you're saying, but like, they're taking a guy that's been the National Player of the Year on their team. I hear you, but you just got to figure out ways to play around him.
Yeah.
You can't take a talent like that and say we don't want him. We're like that. You got to figure out how to make it work, is what I think.
But he didn't move the ball. He didn't.
No, the ball stuck. It definitely stuck, and his strength was not posting up. I mean, it's not like he was just this back to the basket beast. He was an athletic beast. That's what Tshiebwe was. I think the one thing that Kentucky, you're talking about, they have to be better is defensively. Now, last night they shut the water off on Miami, and I think a little bit of this is Miami might not be maybe as good as they were last year, but still they've got some guys that can go. Like, you look at some of their players. Poplar is terrific. Cleveland is talented.
Norchad's a beast.
Yeah. I mean, they've got some, and Nigel Pack has proven he can score. I think maybe he's going to have to play a role that he's not as comfortable with this year as last year, when you've got a guy in Isaiah Wong who he was awesome, and he just gets his game on. They missed Jordan Miller a little bit. I think Jordan Miller was a really good player for Miami. So, the defensive side of the basketball, I think they still need to keep working. They're not bad. And last night they were good. They really were. But I think offensively, this team is ahead of where they are on the defensive side. And that's a credit to John Calipari, because we would not have said that last year. Like, last year, it was like pulling teeth watching them try to score.
I think too, getting back to Tshiebwe a little bit, right? Like, they have space now. Like, Trey Mitchell's a pick and pop 5. So now they're
playing some at 5 out. There's room. There's room to get in there. That is one thing where you are definitely taking up the driving lanes when you've got a huge big in there. Right. You're going to be driving into him. That's why you've got to figure out ways to work around his skill set. But with Mitchell, it's 5 out. It's 5 out basketball. He can pass, he can shoot, he can score inside and out. Like, he's good. He's really good.
Here's the craziest part of it. My favorite player on the circuit, and the guy who I think might have the highest upside of anybody in this class, is Aaron Bradshaw. Like, Isaiah Collier withstanding. He's probably the one that I think might have the highest upside if he becomes a really good shooter as a point guard at USC. But Bradshaw, man, like, long, athletic, skilled. He's got a body of like KG a little bit. He's not that. He's not tough like KG.
But he's like wiry, strong.
Yes. Wiry.
What about their other bigs? Who are the other? Isn't there 2 other guys that are hurt too?
Yeah, Big Z, the freshman who isn't cleared yet. And then the kid Ugana, who didn't play much last year, but can give him some size up front. Like, they've got 3 bigs that are probably 2. I don't know if Z, even if he gets cleared, I don't know how much he's going to be able to play this year now. Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about for when you play a team like Purdue or Arizona with Ballo, or Kansas with Dickinson. We saw just his numbers against Kentucky. That's where you need the bodies that those guys can throw. That's where they're missing that
bigger bodies. They need like one physical big, I think. Bradshaw is not that, okay? But what Bradshaw is a guy that can keep up with all these dudes, okay? He can run with them. He can block shots. He can step out and make threes, not at a great clip, but at an honest enough clip. And the biggest question I have is like, all right, like whose minutes is he going to take? And when you're winning, it's easier. Let's face it, it's easier. Everybody's minutes are going to be cut by a little bit when Bradshaw comes back, and he's not going to come back and play 28 minutes his first game. My guess is he'll be eased into it. And if he's good enough and productive enough, then eventually he's going to get 20 plus minutes and only make this team better up.
And they need, I think, from a rebounding standpoint, they've been okay on the defensive glass, and they're not a team that gets on the offensive boards right now. So you bring some of that size. I still am blown away, though. I said this earlier. The fact that they're playing at like a top 20 pace offensively in college basketball and turn it over on only 10% of their possessions. That is amazing.
Amazing.
And doing that with young guards, I mean, that is a remarkable statistic and a credit to those players for taking care of it.